Some of you have been asking about Adam's sewing adventures, and so here are some early ties of his. Now, I don't know where there was another one he made, and I don't know where I put it. It was a little cotton plaid. This is some fabric he got at Hobby Lobby. But what he did here was he ordered some of these little tapes. You look at they've even got measurements on the inside and little hooks for adjusting the size of the bow tie. So he did all of that. Isn't that nice? This is some beautiful fabric. But it's not a slicky acrylic. It has a cotton feel. And again, got this lovely hardware in here. Isn't that nice? Now this is a straight long tie, and I just love this fabric. And you know, he cut all this and he starched it with heavy starch and ironed it. It's got little unicorns and butterflies. So like the little 5th grade girls that he teaches science to at school, they're going to love this tie. They all think he's a grandpa. And this is the next thing that Adam has made. This is his 3rd flat cap. He made this from scratch. It's got a little bill. Got a liner. It's got a band. Oh, there's a stray. You don't need that. Isn't that nice? And it sits beautifully. This is for one of his students who specifically likes this kind of hat. I think he did a very fine job. So here's Adam wearing his most important new project, which is a pair of dress pants. He didn't copy this pattern from anywhere. He designed it himself with measurements. It has matching welt pockets on the back, pleats on the front, and a button fly. And he did all this himself. They look really good. And he's going to be making a matching vest and many more pants and short pants and vest in the future. But this is his first pair. So here are the pants. I guess since we're on the front, he did all these buttonholes himself. And he's got a little latch, that kind of a latch. Here's the fly. Now we're going to have better buttons on later pants. The first thing he did was practice welt pockets, and I think that he did a beautiful job on these. There's the first. He's not going to put a button there. Although it looks like he did at first, but look at that. He's got a dart running through it. He's got belt loops. Here's the other welt pocket on the other side. So he just did a beautiful job. The side pockets look good. He can get his hands into them. He can really design these pants exactly as he wants them to be. So he's very excited to have clothes that fit him really well now.
Straight seam on the side.
Yeah, the seam on the side is great. Great job. Real quickly, before we're done with this video today, I want to show you parts of Adam's studio, his sewing room. This is the machine that he got at the thrift store for $5. It is a white machine. It's all metal. It does have a reverse. It doesn't have a zigzag. That's the one thing I think he really wishes he had. But otherwise, it is a great little machine, and it just whirs along smoothly and makes this lovely sound in contrast to my behemoth of a sewing machine over there. He's also got himself a little thread stand back here so he can have spools of thread that come up here and then feed onto his machine right there. Very nice. Now this is his table, his creative space. This is a large wooden drafting table, and he put his own really bright light over it so he can see well to cut and do all kinds of things. And there's a lot of fun stuff on it right now. He's making some more books. Aren't these beautiful? He bought a big picture book at the thrift store for like $1, and has been cutting the beautiful pictures out of it. And he's making me a big book with a back like that. But this is also where he cuts his fabric. He's got his ironing board and our iron, and this is where it all happens. So that's just a little bit about Adam's sewing adventures, and I know some of you have been curious about that. The reason he's doing this is because men's clothes don't fit him correctly, because he's very large. He especially has a very large belly, and that is a condition of a lot of men. And women with bellies, and there are many of us too, we aren't forced to wear clothes like that. Pants and skirts that hang underneath our bellies. And a culture that tells us then we have to take our shirts and tuck them in to that pant or skirt line. No woman in her right mind would ever dress that way. At church yesterday, the women we were standing around after we'd seen Adam's pants, we were talking about that. We were like, why are men expected, when they're dressing up and trying to look nice, even in a knit polo shirt, you will see grown men walking around with their dress pants hanging all the way underneath their large bellies, and this big knit stretchy polo shirt expanded over their bellies and tucked into their pants. And that's supposed to be dressed up. And they know they don't look good, and everybody else knows they don't look good, and you assume, wow, that's just how they look and they should lose weight. But what's difficult is that a lot of these men, and like my husband, are the shape they are because they're on medication they can't get off of because it's saving their lives. And it's a toss-up between, do I want to die of my illness, or do I want to not look good in my clothes? And I wish I could shame the men's clothing industry into doing this, because Adam learned to sew, a week and a half ago? He's been watching a lot of videos. He has ordered several books. He's looked at a lot of patterns, and he's gone slowly as he's learned how to sew those pants. But you can sew a pair of pants that come up to your true waist, at about your navel, maybe a little above. And then you can wear a vest that goes over top of that, just like a woman's shirt goes over top of her skirt or her pants line that sits at her waist. And then your belly just disappears. And Adam has been looking for this because he loves to dress up and he loves to look dapper. And he loves all those kind of clothes, but he couldn't afford them and he couldn't find them anywhere. So he has decided he's just going to make them himself. And I really admire him for doing that. So I thought I would mention that because probably half of the women watching this, and maybe some of the men who are, if you're watching, you're married to men who have this issue and they don't talk about it, but boy, they wish they could dress differently. Well, this is an idea for you. You could make these. The patterns aren't really out there. That's why Adam couldn't follow a pants pattern. He had to design it himself. He had to do a lot of research, find out how to craft a pattern. He got some books that have guidelines for men's pants patterns and other items of clothing. And then he had to take very careful measurements of himself and design that pattern himself. But now that he has it, he can make all the clothes he wants. He can leave plenty of seam allowance, and he can adjust them if he gains weight or if he loses weight. So that's a great comfort to him and brings him a lot of joy. It's almost dark. Adam's over in his little building, sewing away. He's a happy guy. Adam has a rotisserie spit attachment on his Weber grill, and he made a pork loin the other day. And we had the most delicious meal. That's the pork on the right. It was so tender. Roasted veg and potatoes. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you very quickly is a little sewing project of mine. Well, I made this little scrappy hodgepodge of a quilted table topper. It's not very big, see? I made it from all of the scrap pieces of fabric that I kept while I was making other projects. And so you might notice some things that you've seen me make. Like this fabric is my favorite. There's that one. A lot of the different rose pieces and some of the Pixel Pixar ones too. So they're different weight too, which is makes it a little funny. A little funky piece. I was going to make it as a baby doll blanket for my granddaughter if she had a baby doll, but it's really stiff. I put that on the back. I did some little quilting to hold it all down. And around the edge, I was just really lazy. I used some double fold bias tape. I need to iron it down because it's a little bumpy. But I thought it turned out nicely. I may have to work on a different type of blanket for her because that's just too stiff. It doesn't have any drape. But I like it on top of this little old-fashioned turntable that one of my sons gave me. And I could just put different fun little things on top. So there you go. One more thing done. I've never seen my gardenia bush bloom this much. It has so many blooms on it this year. Look at that. Some of the very earliest ones are starting to turn yellow. It is just loaded. It is so loaded. It's just stunning.